Hi, hello, welcome to this channel. This is a re-recording of the live stream I just did, and it turns out that the video quality is really bad. I don't know what's happened with the settings. So I'm going to share with you what had happened in the live stream, and I think it's something good to share. And so in a nutshell, what we did is adding a execution context class in the PHP interpreter. And the reason to do that is because the existing interpreter over here, I know that we are going to change it to not using a switch statement. We're going to turn it to some kind of error, some kind of hash table to do handler work. So I know we need that, and so as I'm working on the second function, I try to do a equality comparison. Then it doesn't really make sense for me to continue, stay with this code. That's why you do the refactoring. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so what you see here is the original code before the change. So we have this switch statement, right? And what we are going to do is change this to a handler. And in order to do that, we need to make some changes. The first, as I mentioned, we're going to create a execution context. And what that execution context does is handling the execution. So some of the code will move over there, like this adding and resetting errors, and then also move this to that code. And so here is the result. Oh, come on. Go. So we've created this execution context. It's pretty simple. It's just handle the error logging, and the interpreter now will create this context for each execution. When the execution method is called, it will create this execution context, call the reset errors, and then pass it into the handler. And the handler over here is picked out by using the operator, the function name, and then it will call the handler by passing in this context and the code. So before that, the function itself, like for example in this literal, is just taking a code, right? So after the refactoring, the function, for example this not function, will take in the context. So I have add the PHP dot over here so that we get the code completion, and then so that's it. So that's the change. So we can also take a look at it like this, so you can see what's the change. Right. So we change this, the variable this, change this to context, and then because of that, we can change this function back to a static function or static method. So where do we set the handler? Is over here in the constructor. So in the constructor, we just create this object and then passing this in. And I try to find a way to just pass the self not in there, because if you are writing in JavaScript, right, it's just function. You can function is a first-class citizens, and over here PHP is kind of, and in this case I cannot just pass in. I know there's way to do that. Say for example there's something like say call user function, something like that, and then you just pass in the string, so the handler when you execute it you do that thing and so on, but it's kind of messy. So right now I do it like this, and if any of you watching this video finds or knows a better way to do this, let me know, because this to me is ugly, that creating a additional wrapper just to get around this limitation. So if you know, that would be great. And so now since we create this handler here in the constructor, it means that later on it's very easy for me to provide a override, you know, and then all we need to do is extend this object or merge this object with the override one, then we're able to extend the language, right? That's it. It's very simple, and each of the value of inside that associative array is individual functions, right? And they get the context, they get the code. That's it. You don't need anything else. You don't need OO. You don't need nothing, right? And it will just work. So that's essentially that's the change. And the other things are just updating the test, because the test now instead of getting the errors, it have to call this get errors, because over here we used to have this error property, right? And to expose this, and if I want to maintain the same code, you know, the consuming code, I can resort to the magic function, the magic methods that are provided by PHP. It's kind of like a proxy thing, but the drawback of that is then the user or the consumer of the class does not know that this property exists, right? Because it's a magic method, so there's no place to document this. You can kind of document it in the class over here, right? Over here, and then say something there's this property, but you know, it doesn't make sense, right? So it's much better to just provide it there. Maybe the PHP doc you can do something like that, but I don't feel like it. So the way that I took is to convert that property into a function to just get errors, and then it was simple, just call this context error. And because of the need of this, I need to put the context into the as a property, as a private properties, and thus the execute function, and also of course the get error function needs to be still a instant method, right? So because we have to keep track of it, and the and in the test you can see that it is utilizing it, right? So we have the subject, which is an interpreter, and after execute we still need to maintain the state, and so that we can call and get the error. So it makes sense to be an instance. So well, that's it. But that's basically the change. And one last thing is just changing the namespace. I realized, you know, in PHP convention, the namespace should be Pascal case. So I didn't do that beforehand. So at the beginning of the video, I saw that, and okay, just go ahead and change it. No big deal, right? So well, that's it. That's what we have done in the live stream. And I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you learn something. And the lesson is, you know, essentially how to convert the code from a more OO style to a more functional style, because you can see the function, you know, the not operator or not function is a static method, and you can extend it easily by doing this. You forget about OO, just function, man. Just do it. Yeah, so Well, thanks for watching, and if you find this video helpful and able to learn something, please help the channel a little bit by subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.